right, 30 days of clarity, day 5. Let's talk about meditation because I've gotten several messages from people that say, hey, RJ, I feel where you're coming from, but meditation is not for me. I can't meditate or I'm doing it wrong. So let's talk about what meditation is from my standpoint and my perspective. I'll tell you about how I first started meditating. I'll tell you about some of the myths about it, and hopefully it'll help you out. So a lot of times when I hear people say, RJ, I just can't meditate or that's not for me, I equate that the same way as somebody saying, oh, I went to the gym one time. I didn't come out with a six-pack, so this gym thing doesn't work for me. Meditation is one of those things that you got to practice at. And a lot of times when people say it doesn't work for them, it's simply because you're trying to meditate just like you've seen somebody else do it on TV or on YouTube or social media or something you've read. And a lot of times that's what works for them. It may not be what works for you. So we'll see somebody meditating. They're sitting in a certain pose. They're sitting on the perfect mat. They got the perfect dim lit room. You know, it's candles burning. There's sage smoke twirling in the air. All of this stuff. And I'm not saying any of that is wrong. I'm just saying that's what works for them. It may not be what works for you. When I first started meditating, none of that worked for me. So understand there's no way to meditate wrong, in my opinion. Meditation to me is just turning off outside stimuli. What do I mean by that? A lot of times we're being fed externally by something every single day. There's televisions playing. There are people talking to us. We're talking on our phones. We're text messaging. We're on social media. We're being fed all of this stuff, all of this outside stimuli daily. And most of the time we never turn it off. So this 30 days of clarity is just about taking a moment each day and turning those things off for a moment. Doesn't have to be 30 minutes. It could be 5 minutes. In fact, I recommend when people first start meditating, just try to sit for 3 to 5 minutes. People say, well, RJ, I tried that, but my thoughts are all over the place. Of course they are, because it's going to take practice for you to get to the point where you're able to fully quiet your mind. That just doesn't happen when you meditate one time or even 2 times. You're gonna have to practice at that. When I first started meditating, I tried to sit for 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden my 5 minutes, I started thinking about Cheetos. I started thinking about bills I needed to pay. I started thinking about things I needed to do, and I thought, just like you, I'm doing it wrong. But what I found out was no, it takes time. Here's what I started doing. I would sit quietly and I would picture something that I really liked. So for example, let's just say I thought about the beach. I would just sit there and I would picture myself sitting on the beach. I would picture the ocean. I would picture the waves. I would try to hear the sound. And as soon as my mind drifted off to having a sandwich, I would just try to bring my mind back to the beach again. I would do that for 3 to 5 minutes, whether I was 100% successful at it or not. But when those 3 to 5 minutes was over, I was done with meditation. But I kept doing it over and over again, and I kept practicing. And eventually I got to the point where I could hold myself in a space where I was only focused on the beach, and those outside thoughts started to quiet themselves. You will eventually get there. You don't have to imagine the beach. You can imagine anything that you want, but understand it's okay if your thoughts drift off. That's normal. But the more you do this and the more you practice, the more you're going to be able to quiet your mind. And eventually you'll get to the point to where you'll get those revelation thoughts. You'll get those bright ideas. You'll get all of that. But I don't want you doing this expecting that something miraculous is supposed to happen every time you sit quietly, because if so, you won't meditate. So let's just cut the myths out. Meditation is not something that you are going to do wrong. It's something that you just have to do. It's not going to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, but just taking time out each day to turn off outside stimuli and learning, keyword, learning to quiet your mind, learning to put yourself internally in a place of peace. That's what this 30 days of clarity, and that's what, to me, meditation is all about. So that's my quick meditation 101. I hope that helps. Continue with this 30 days of clarity. Make videos, do posts. Let me know what's happening and how it's working for you. And I look forward to hearing from you.